Thank you. So I'm obsessed with the imagination. What is this cosmic soup where all ideas come from? What is this liminal space that is so unreal, yet where reality is constructed? Why does it exist? Where does it come from? What keeps us from accessing the imagination, and where is it taking us? I became obsessed with the imagination around the age of 5 when I went to Disneyland and rode Pirates of the Caribbean for the first time. I knew that it wasn't real, yet it was right in front of me. It was real. And I wanted to jump off that boat, and I wanted to swim to shore, and I wanted to live in that world fully. And when I was 19, I would stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning listening to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. And my favorite guest was Terence McKenna. And McKenna spoke about the imagination as an emerging new paradigm of the human experience, the fifth world. Not some subplot or side story or byproduct of being a conscious entity, but instead the realm that everything exists within. Meow Wolf is sort of the culmination of my obsession with the imagination. And I was lucky enough to be a co-founder of Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, New Mexico when we formed in 2008. Meow Wolf is an arts and entertainment company, production company, that produces these large-scale, immersive, interactive installations. We have one in Santa Fe, Vegas, Denver, and then we just announced a couple in Dallas and in Houston. And I just want to say that I'm really psyched to be in Texas, to be a safe space, to represent diverse thought, and be a safe space for diverse thought. But calling Meow Wolf an arts and entertainment production company is sort of like a reduction, a real simple way of describing what it is that we do. It's ultimately a lot more psychedelic than that. Meow Wolf is a fictional entity that came from the imagination of a lot of people and then found itself in our plane of existence. And it's here in our world with a ferocious mission. We've tried our best to unearth what that mission is and to document it. And the way that we put it is that Meow Wolf inspires creativity in people's lives so that the imagination can transform our world. I love that. Remember, no problem has ever been solved without the solution first being imagined. Our project in Las Vegas, Nevada is called Omega Mart, and it's this fake grocery store, but it's also an actual grocery store. And it prompts the audience to have to ask themselves a very important question. Is this real? And honestly, I don't know the answer to that. In the first 12 months since it's been open, it's become one of the top attractions in all of Las Vegas. In Denver, we built the largest exhibition yet. It's 50,000 square feet. It's in this 5-story building that is like wedged in between these crazy overpasses. It's absurd. And in the first 6 months, we've seen nearly 1 million visitors to Meow Wolf Denver. This is where we are today. This is where we got to. But this is not how the story began. In 2008, Meow Wolf was just a bunch of 20-somethings in Santa Fe, New Mexico, looking for a place to express ourselves. We were tired of waiting for others to invite us into their space, and we just said, fuck it, we're going to start our own space. We didn't have any money. We worked in restaurants, we worked food delivery, hotels, and the materials that we used to build our installations were pulled out of the dumpster. We built these weird, strange worlds, gross, disgusting worlds out of whatever materials we could find, and we invited people to explore them. ultimately, we were like big adults, or big kids trying to build forts. And this went on for like 6 or 7 years. But what started off as a passion project for a bunch of 20-somethings quickly turned into a sort of obligation for a bunch of 30-somethings 7 years later. And we were all ready to move on. Like some people wanted to go to college, they wanted to start a family. We were kind of asking ourselves, what are we doing with our lives? But we had this belief, we had this imaginative vision that if we got the right strategy, and if we got the right building, and we built a permanent exhibition, then Meow Wolf could be great in this world. And so I found this building. It's a 30,000 square foot old bowling alley in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I was walking around it with a real estate agent. And I told him, I said, dude, if we land this building, then anything is possible. And he goes, okay, so how much money do you have to put down on the down payment? It's like, dude, I got no money. I owe my parents like $3,000. That's how much money I have. He's like, okay, well, how much money does Meow Wolf have to put down on the down payment? He thought we were like a real business. And I was like, dude, Meow Wolf's got no money. He's like, all right, well, then who do you know who might have money to buy this building? I was like, well, I do know this guy. George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones. And this was like season 4, season 5 period of time, so it's like really big deal. And so I wrote to George, and I was like, I know you don't know me very well, but there's this bowling alley, and if you buy it, we are gonna do something sick with it. And he,
Did you say that word?
yeah, I did, yeah, for sure. And he's like, huh, interesting. And he came, and basically, long story short, 3 months later, we were signing a lease with George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin became our landlord, which is crazy. And I know how he likes to kill off heroes, so as I was signing the lease, that was definitely passing through my mind. In about 18 months after we signed the lease, we opened Meow Wolf Santa Fe, which is home to our first permanent exhibition, the House of Eternal Return. Yeah, special projects. So when audiences go to the House of Eternal Return, they land in this front lawn of a Victorian house. And from this point forward, it's totally their experience. They can move in whatever direction they want to move in. There's no point to the experience. Really, like, guests can experience the project however it is that they want. Most people go inside of the house and start to learn about the family that lives there. And they go through the photo albums and the journals and watch the home movies. And they start to realize that something wonky has been going on in this house and that the family has been missing. Get to the kitchen, walk up to the fridge, open the fridge, and instead of there being food in there, it's a long lit hallway into who knows where. Or you might get to the dryer and open the dryer and realize that it's a tube slide that goes into the unknown, filled with possibilities. And if there's one thing that we learned through this process, it's that humans desperately want to walk through their household appliances. Some like deep-seated need of ours. And then when you get to the other side, you end up in this incredible world, this magical world built by artists, sculpture, painting, interactivity, music, an incredible soundscape. 100+ artists in Santa Fe, New Mexico, who are some of the most brilliant people in the world. And we didn't know how people would take to this project. We didn't know how many people would actually even show up. We had estimated that there would be about 100,000 people a year who would come to House of Eternal Return. And in the first 12 months, we saw 500,000 people. And these were people of all ages, all backgrounds, all belief systems. These were lots of people who had never even set foot in an art gallery before or a museum, never felt welcome. And I realized something really important in this moment. I realized that art and creativity and imagination is not for a select group of people. It's not like a certain personality type that is like an artist. Like, every single human on this planet wants to engage with the imagination. Every single human. And we were getting these reviews, these 4- and 5-star reviews that were like, it's awesome, it's worth the price of admission, you definitely have to go and check it out. But there were some reviews that were like especially surprising to us. Like Hannah's review here that says, I went a few years ago and it's life-changing. We were getting like emails and handwritten letters about this. And as CEO at the time, I had to look into what was going on here. Because we knew we created something cool and beautiful, but life-changing? What was going on that's life-changing? There's a transformation happening, and I pointed back to the fridge and really thought about this moment when people walk through this refrigerator. When someone walks in, to this kitchen, it's a kitchen that they know. It's a world that they know. It's the known. It's predictable. It's a construct that they're familiar with. But when they open the fridge and they realize that it's a hallway into the unknown, they realize that the fridge is more than what the fridge is supposed to be. And in that moment, I think something really special happens for the individual. Because if the fridge is more than what the fridge is supposed to be, then maybe the world can be different than what the world is supposed to be. But then even more importantly, if the world can be more than what the world is supposed to be, then maybe I can be more than what I'm supposed to be.
That's right!
And that's the transformational. That's the transformational moment. It's feeling the agency to step into the future unknown that's filled with possibility, where you can be anything that you choose.
Oh, I love that!
I do too. It starts with agency, the transformational process. We provide an environment where people have choice. Choice is a really important aspect of this process. With that choice, people are empowered to then explore and then discover. It's pretty straightforward. Seems really simple. But the weird thing is that in our world, exploration and discovery doesn't happen much. Because exploration and discovery can only happen within the context of the unknown. If you know it, if it's familiar, if it's predictable, if it's what has been, then there's nothing to explore. You've already explored it. There's nothing to discover. So in order to have exploration and discovery, you need to be in a context of the unknown, and this is very difficult for us. But this day and age, we have these smartphones in our pocket. We're in a very special moment in the human trajectory. We have these smartphones in our pocket that deliver us new content multiple times an hour. It's almost as if we're at a Pavlovian level, like training ourselves to seek out the unknown, to seek out new content. If you're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and you're scrolling through, you don't stop at things that you've seen before. You stop at things that you haven't seen before. But then when you put your phones away and you go out into this world, everything's predictable. It is all how it's always been. What city do you think this is? What suburb? Is there any reason to explore and discover? But it's not just suburban developments. Consider the knownness of identity, of ourself. This is a self problem. The greatest apparatus of knowing in our lives is the knowing that we've constructed for ourselves, and we've given it a name. Mine's Vince. It tells me who I am, what I know, how the world is, what I think, what my beliefs are, what my determinations are, what I think about you, what kind of food I like. It defines everything for me. It makes it all known. Think about kids. Kids enter this world without the identity, without understanding the world, and they're filled with exploration and discovery at all times. And there's a byproduct of this: play, imagination, spirit, happiness, learning, growth, curiosity. There's byproducts of exploration and discovery that kids show, to the nth degree. But when we get older, we start to construct a safe, understanding of ourselves and a safe understanding of the world, really based on protecting ourselves, based on protecting ourselves from risk. A lot of our identifiers come from moments of trauma or come from moments of disappointment. We then learn how to react to that trauma or react to that disappointment, to defend against it, and that becomes who we are. And this is all good, like it's good for us to create a safe space for us to experience the world through. But then you start feeling stuck. And the older we get and the more thick that identity becomes, the scarier it becomes to enter into the unknown. The harder it becomes to move into future possibility.
It's a trap.
And what's interesting is that the same place in the brain that produces memory is the same place that produces future-based imagination. It's ultimately a choice. And the work is getting to this truth, which is you are not who you have been. We are not who we have been. We are who we are becoming through our choices. And we're in a special moment in the history of humanity because there's an awakening happening around this where people are desperately trying to get beyond the shell of their past being and move into the world of possibility. So we have things in this transformational economy like meditation, retreats, things that help us try to get out of that construct that we built around us. And there's a very, very special movement happening right now in the world of psychedelic therapy and transformational therapy, technologies even, that help us break out of that past-based self and move into the possibilities of our future. In February of this year, Johns Hopkins medicine researchers showed that psychedelic treatment with psilocybin relieved major depressive disorder symptoms in adults for up to a year when administered with psychotherapy. And Roland Griffiths, a professor in the departments of neuroscience and psychiatry at the School of Medicine, said psilocybin not only produces significant and immediate effects, it also has a long duration, which suggests that it may be uniquely useful as a new treatment for depression. Compared to standard antidepressants, which must be taken for long stretches of time, psilocybin has the potential to enduringly relieve the symptoms of depression with 1 or 2 treatments. This is Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. This is not in the underground. This is not on the side. This is the smartest people in the world of science and medicine with data backed saying that this is effective. And so that's why it's so critical that in 2020, you, the voters of Oregon, courageously led the efforts by passing ballot measure 109 and allowing, which allows the manufacturing, delivery, and administration of psilocybin in professional settings, professional therapeutic settings. Oregon, great fucking job. But substances are not for everyone, nor should they be. But the pursuit of the imagination, the pursuit of that unknown world of possibility in front of us is a pursuit that should be for everybody. And that's why I think immersive art and experiences that are built with creativity in mind are an amazing access point for people of all ages, all backgrounds, all belief systems, to experience transformation, to experience a psychedelic experience without the need for substance. And that's what Meow Wolf stands for. It's to be an opportunity for people of all ages, all backgrounds, to get in touch with the imagination. I want to kind of back out a little bit here and kind of talk about the overall trajectory of the human over time with regards to the imagination. This is an impossible thing to grasp, but just ask yourself, how many things have been created from the imagination? And start in 10,000 BC and then get to now. And you'll probably see like a pretty slow climb, and then around the first industrial revolution, you'll start to see that graph go vertical. This is a crazy trajectory that humans are on. This almost like desperate need to create so much. And like AR and VR and the metaverse and digital fabrication and theme design, like it's not slowing down. Where does this lead us? Where do we end up? The human trajectory is moving collectively into this unknown future called the imagination, into a paradigm shift that will fundamentally transform everything, the way that we experience everything. And it's scary, because it's blurring the line between is it real or is it not real? And it's going to be completely different than what we have known up to this point. It's a paradigm shift. And it's filled with questions that are impossible to answer. But with the power of courage, with the power of love, and with the power of imagination, we will reach the new world. The new world where dream is destiny. Thank you.